Good morning.
Hello. I'm eating a banana.
Hallelujah. It's a great Saturday.
So, we have been getting a lot of questions of our love story.
Yeah, our last Q&A. It was a banana peel, it's fine. Our last Q&A, a couple people asked us to share our love story, which is a very long, eccentric, insane story. I feel like we've shared it on YouTube before, but like not in like just focusing on it. So, where do we even start? You know, let's start like way back. Let's start like way back. So, for me, this is how I ended up meeting Jordan. I grew up in like the Finger Lakes region. We grew up in a really nice area, like just outside of Victor, kind of. Super pretty area. Definitely a whole different culture than Genesee County. I'm just saying, there's like a line through Western New York, and I crossed it when I moved out here. I ended up my personal walk with the Lord started when I was 17, and became real when I was 19, if that makes sense. That's when I really decided to fully give my life to the Lord and see whatever He had for me. And the first thing He had for me was theology school / school of ministry, whatever you want to call it. I don't know. I say school of ministry on YouTube and people freak out and they're like, what are you talking about? So I just say theology school and it's easier for people to understand. So I went there I started there in fall of 17. That was the year I graduated high school. I was living with a friend at the time, and I ended up meeting my best friend through there. He lived on this little dead-end street in Genesee County, in this cute little town, and he was like, hey, well, actually, it was the first time the first time I went to his house, it was me and my other roommate. We went out to, like, I can't remember why we went, but the creepy thing was there was nobody there. So I was like, wow, Josiah has this huge house. Like,
nobody lives there.
Nobody lives there, and he drives a BMW. It was kind of weird. But then, like, he's, like, explaining to us that he has, like, 8 siblings and blah, 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 and I was like, okay. So anyways,
He has 7 siblings.
Across the street, Jordan lived with her mom. And you guys lived there for how long?
We moved to Leroy when I was 3 or 4. And my mom, my grandpa, and my uncle built the house. So, I grew up across the street from this family that had 8 kids, and I was an only child, so I thought that it was the best thing in the world.
It was like an orphan, but not.
So, the day of the solar eclipse. It was in like 2017.
You gotta tell the story from your perspective, and then I'll tell from my perspective.
Okay, from my perspective, it was the day of the solar eclipse, and it was also the day of my uncle's mother's funeral. And it was up in the city. So my grandpa drove us. My grandpa came, picked up my mom and I, and we drove to the funeral. On the way back, my grandpa thought he knew where he was going. My grandpa always thought he knew where he was going without directions. He refused to use the directions. We got lost.
It must be a guy thing.
In the bad part of Rochester. Like, I thought that we were not going to make it out of there alive.
I mean, that's saying a lot, though. Jordan, you go to Walmart, you're not sure if we're making it out alive.
What should have taken us a half hour to get home, it took us an hour and a half to get home. So when we came home, our street, like up and down the street, there was just kids on bikes because we had just had a windstorm that past March. So the family at the end of the street this way was getting their roof fixed
by a
friend of a friend. So all the kids were just riding their bicycles and scooters up and down the street. And so my friend Sarah came over to my house and was like, hey, you should come play with us. So I said, okay.
Did your mom let you?
Yeah, my mom let me.
That's saying a lot.
She's never going to see She doesn't even have a cell phone. So I went and I was walking with all of the kids up and down the street riding bikes and stuff. And all of a sudden,
My turn. My turn. Okay, so backtrack. Beginning of that day, I called my buddy and I was like, "Hi, I'm broke and I want to come hang out with some people. And also, can you get me some Dunkin'?" So he took me to Dunkin' and then he brought me back to his house. And I remember we ate like weird food. I don't remember what it was, but I was kind of like, "Wow, this family eats like champs," which is a whole fact, and you know that. Like that family eats like it's like an 8-course meal on every day. So we were chilling, you know, and then he's helping his buddies out with fixing some siding that came off their house or something.
yeah.
Wasn't it their siding?
Yeah, and then the Zacco's roof.
Yeah, and then some other friends from down the street, their roof came off, so they were helping them out. It was crazy. So then he goes, "Well, we can." I'm not really the construction type person. He's like, "Why don't you go hang out with my siblings while I finish this up, and then we'll go and we'll get dinner or something." And blah, blah. And I was like, "All right, cool." So I, waddle my way out to the children, and there we be. And I found his littlest sister at the time was how old? 5.
Yeah.
I found her tricycle.
It used to be mine.
It used to be Jordan's tricycle, and then it moved across the street because they have what's that day called? The big day of the year where everything comes up.
Hallelujah party.
No,
Oh, you know the garage day?
Garage Day. It's this day where their dad goes like eccentrically crazy. If you watch this video, I'm sorry. I think it's a bit ludicrous, but it's fine. Do you, my guy? He takes everything they own out of their garage. They have a 4-car garage. No, is it 4 or 2? No, because no, it's 3. This is a double and a single. Yeah. It's a 3-car garage, and it's packed with like every ministry thing you could need, every random tool you need, and every piece of furniture that you find on the side of the street that you could paint up and make it look real nice.
And about 20 bicycles.
Oh, and like enough bikes to supply like the U.S. military if we forget to like buy transportation for them. It's insane. So, anyways, I'm riding this little pink tricycle that belongs to this little 5-year-old girl. Her and her sister, who's 2 years older than her, and they look like twins because the little one is big and the big one's little. Like, they're following me and giggling like nobody's business. And then I look, and his other sister comes riding down the street on a bike. And there's this little blonde pipsqueak that I've only seen once at OCC the year before. I mean, she weighs like 6 pounds. She's about that thick. And she's just like dressed like something like Vanessa Hudgens from early 2000s. You know, she comes waddling down the street. And I was like, "Hi." And she giggled at me. It didn't respond. And I was like, "Geez, rude." So then I circled back on the dead end street and I come back up and I say, "Hi." And she goes, and keeps walking. I'm like, "Man, what a little weirdo you guys are friends with. Like, what the heck?" So this happened for like 20 minutes. We probably said hi how many times? I said hi probably 50 times and all you did was giggle at me. Then finally I got her stopped and I'm like, "So where do you go to school?" "Oh, I go here and here, blah, blah, blah." "What are you into?" Blah, 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 blah. "Okay, nice. And I told her right then, I said, I think you're a nice kid. I'm gonna adopt you like my little sister. Except that like everybody on the street is like, "You guys look like twins."
I have a picture of us wearing the 2 littlest girls' hoodie with our glasses on.
We literally look like twins. It's insane. Sorry, we hit the power button on the phone. So anyways, I got her Instagram or something, and we just ended up chatting back and forth, like, and it never ended for like, 2 years? We would just gossip about everything under the sun. She opened up on some real deep stuff. I opened up on some deep stuff, and you ended up becoming like one of my best friends. I did not feel romantic ever.
I thought he was cute.
She liked me since the day she met me.
Yeah, well, when we met, I was 15 and you were 19. Illegal,
yeah. Someone told me the other day I'm a crib robber because I married basically a child, and I was like, like, she's not a child. So anyways, we ended up like becoming good friends, and then fast forward to
2020.
early 2020, the forbidden year.
My senior year.
It's Jordan's senior year. So she's getting ready to graduate June 2020. I was working a really nice job in downtown Rochester as a courier and office assistant in a real estate office. Well, it wasn't technically real estate. It was a real estate title agency.
So real estate.
Yeah. Long story short. Anywho's, I ended up. So I was living with this lady in Leroy. She had like a loft, half of a house, kind of. I don't know how to
Kind of like
explain
an attic thing.
it. It was like a huge attic turned into like a big living space. Which, looking back on it now, I realize how small it was.
Yeah, but it was cute.
It was probably the cutest space I've ever had set up. Finding out this lady is a practicing witch. Like, how long? 5 weeks into moving in there? I mean,
You moved in January. You found it out at like the end of February.
yeah, so like 7 weeks. It was the most horrifying experience. Horrifying. It's like, I can't do this anymore. I said, I need to be out of here by the end of the week. I wasn't going to tell her. Some friends were like, you should probably at least let her know. And I was like, I'm not letting her know. I'm just packing up and leaving. And then I told her, I'm like, hey, I'm taking Friday off as a sick day, so I don't need a ride. Because we worked in buildings right next to each other. So I'd stay there, and then we'd ride to work together. And I was like, hey, just so you know, I'm not riding to work with you on Friday. I'm taking a mental health day. And she goes, you're moving out, aren't you? And I was like, yeah, actually I am. I said, I'm sorry. I can't do this with you anymore. I said, I have to go somewhere where I can actually, like, feel at peace enough to sleep. And side note, if any of our viewers are dealing with something like this at the moment, I get it. You know, you being in fear. Just remember that God is stronger than all of those fear tactics. I posted on Facebook, I'm like, does anyone have a bedroom I can stay in? Or just a couch I can crash on for just a couple weeks so I can get an apartment and not a down payment, but a security deposit set up. And then Jordan calls me within like 5 minutes and goes, my mom said you can come rent from us. And
So I went downstairs and I was like, Mom, Gavin posted this. He doesn't have anywhere to go. Could we let him stay in the master bedroom for a while? And she said, yeah, sure, because I had like its own bath and walk-in closet and everything. So I texted him and I was like, my mom said you could come stay with us. And he was like, yay. And I was like, yay. And it was fun.
so finally moved in with you. And then a week later, COVID shut literally everything down.
It was the best like time ever.
Jeez.
I was going through a lot of stuff and he helped me through it all, and it was great. And then I was also going through a rough time with my mom, and we actually ended up moving out after like 5 days after I graduated, not even like 2 days actually. 2 days after I graduated, and we ended up staying with my cousin.
Yep. So I stayed on Jordan's bedroom floor at her new place where she was staying for a couple weeks. Got my own apartment. Jordan ended up moving back in with her mom later that year because she wanted to try and reconnect with her mom and heal things. It ended up getting worse. So then, okay, that brings me back to August. Jordan was still living with her cousin, and in May of that year. Now, when I went to move in with them in February, end of February, my pastor's wife said, if you ever develop so much as an ounce of feelings for Jordan, you need to tell somebody, because you cannot be living together if either of you have feelings for each other. She goes, you need to be careful. She goes, it's a good thing that could go wrong if you guys end up loving each other. And I was like, that's so true. I mean, we had bedrooms across the hall from each other. Who knows what we could have done? You know, so I kept myself very aware. And then in May, I remember the date, May 5th. It was a week before my birthday. And I said, Jordan, let's go out in the front lawn and have a picnic. Because this is when everything is still shut down. Like, I was interviewing for a few, like, essential position jobs and not really hearing anything back. time, so I'm just chilling at home. So I was like, Jordan, let's go have a picnic. So we had pretzels and Skittles out in the lawn.
It was great.
Okay, anywho's, I'm sitting on this blanket out in the lawn, and all of a sudden I'm like, holy dang flabbit. I think I like this person. And I was like...
Then I beat you in basketball.
You did. Still liked you after, though. But I was like, wow, I think I really like this girl, and I'm not supposed to. I was like, dude, she's like a little, she's like family to me. Like, I was like, what am I supposed to do with this? So I didn't tell anybody. I didn't even tell her. So then
I figured it out.
Getting there. August comes around, and I was like, I went to my pastor. Actually, no, I went to his son, who's my best friend, so from school at the time. And I texted him. I'm like, dude, we gotta talk. So we get together. We go to the church, and I'm like, bro, you will not believe this. I was like, the little pipsqueak, I think I like her and I want to ask her to be my girlfriend. He was like, you can't do that. Blah, 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 blah. You're just like, you're... I'm like, we argued for a couple hours about it, and then finally I'm like, dude, I'm telling you, I know what I feel. Anyways, he says that, so I'm like, well, I'll go to your dad. So I go to his daddy, and I was like, hey, problem. And he was like, huh, that's weird. And I was like, yeah. I go, I know. I said, I need to know what to do. And I said, listen, you're kind of like a dad to her. You have been for a long time. I said, do I have the permission to ask her to be my girlfriend, or at least let her know how I'm feeling? And he said, not till her 18th birthday. I made it until a week before.
Okay, well, when you were texting me, telling me all about how theoretically Romeo and Juliet, who were best friends, could fall in love with each other, and asking me all these suspicious questions, I was bound to figure it out.
Well, no, and then I was like, God, I need something to show me that this girl is going to be my wife someday. And then it happened through text message.
Thank you, Snapchat.
Yeah. No, it was on Instagram. I texted her and I was like, hey, like, when you are older, married, have kids, do you ever want to adopt? And she said, yeah. And then, no joke, she said, now, a couple years ago, about 2 years before this, I was like, dude, someday I'm gonna adopt kids. I want a little girl from India, and I want a couple little girls from India, and I want a little boy from like Ethiopia, Africa area. I texted her, I was like, do you want to adopt ever? She goes, yeah, I want twins from Asia and a little boy from Africa. And I'm like, what? No. And right then I'm like, all right, Lord, where are we going ring shopping? Because, like, this has got to be a thing. So then it became, she just knew right then. She's like, Gavin, I know. And I was like, no, I can't tell you. I'm not supposed to tell you till you're 18. So she goes, well, the big thing that the big man says we're not allowed to talk about till my big 18th birthday, I know about it. I ended up telling her anyways.
August 8th.
August 8th. It was 8 days before. I went over to her house. I brought her a Burger King sandwich. And I said, Jordan, I don't just really like you. I think I love you. And I said, I'm going to marry you. And she went, hoo-hoo. And then she went, wait, did you say marry? And I was like, yeah. I said, this isn't necessarily a proposal, but I'm marrying you at some point. And she went, okay. Back to the big man and stuff. We couldn't talk about it. He was a little ticked off with me for a little while, but I think he understands now. Maybe he doesn't. I don't know. I apologized to him, and I was like, I should have listened to you, and 8 days wouldn't have killed anything. But, oh well. So anyways, we ended up diving deep quick. Like, we went over, within a month of dating, we established everything about what we thought about marriage, what we thought about kids, I mean, stuff that people cover in like a year to 2 years of dating, we went through it in like 3-4 weeks. And then October came around. I ended up having some severe like health issues with my diabetes. I ended up like getting out of work for like almost a month because I couldn't get my blood sugars under control. Found it out to be a faulty insulin pump.
Yeah.
It was terrible. But she just came through. Like, she checked on me at least every hour. Like, she called me. And then, okay, fast forward a little further, things got really rough with Jordan and her mom. To the point where they were just fighting every day.
She kicked me out Thanksgiving morning. It was great.
That was great.
He managed to drive a 35-minute drive in 7 minutes.
No, it wasn't 7 minutes, it was 10. They listened, because she's back with her mom, she crossed the street from the pastor. This could probably be a little shaky, guys. Let me move over to this lane. She ran across the street at 7 o'clock in the morning, Thanksgiving morning. And now, our pastor's wife, she gets up at like, what, 4 on Thanksgiving morning and starts cooking, and she's up till midnight the night before. Like, she makes a smacking Thanksgiving meal, okay?
I don't think her hubby was too happy to
No,
walk
so-
downstairs and see me crying in their living room and
It was,
out.
I felt so bad, but I'm like, listen, she had nowhere else to go. So we ended up just chilling there because, like, we had nowhere to go for Thanksgiving. So we ended up having Thanksgiving with them. It was the nicest Thanksgiving dinner, I think.
I don't remember anything about it.
What? Well, yeah, I mean, she was on like an hour of sleep, so creds. So then we're like, what is Jordan supposed to do? Because she stayed with them that night. No.
I stayed with them
Yeah, that night. The next day.
2 nights before. No,
Right.
I didn't stay with them Thanksgiving night. Josiah and I went back to your house Thanksgiving night because then we all went Black Friday shopping the next day.
Right. So I had some friends come stay with us so that she could stay with me in the apartment. And then that following Monday, Jordan comes to me and she goes, I need to get, so Monday morning comes around. This is like the Monday after Thanksgiving. Jordan says, Gavin, what if we know we're going to get married at some point. What if we just elope? And I was like, heck no. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm having my big grand finale wedding, like.
On the beach in August.
Yeah, my plan was that year I was getting ready to propose in about a month. I was gonna propose on Christmas Eve during the Christmas Eve service, or right after during our dinner. And I was like, no, like, I'm not eloping. There's no way. And then my friends were staying with us that week too. And because she was having some internal conflicts at home, so she ends up moving in with us for a couple days just to hang out and like get a break. And she's like, I can see it. And I was like, my guy, do you know what eloping is? That's like something you do on TV, or because, you did something wrong and you need to just hurry up and get married. And she's like, well, that way Jordan can continue to live with you. You don't have the big expensive wedding right away because you don't have money for it. Blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, no. I ended up praying about it for 2 days. And then one day, Tuesday morning, I was like, okay, I'm leaning in. I think I can see it. Then Tuesday night, the 4 of us two, and then our friends who had just started dating right then, we ended up just sitting in a circle on my living room floor and just praying for hours. Like, God, what are we supposed to do? Should we do this? All 4 of us asked for a physical thing, a physical sign to happen. And within 10 minutes, every single one of those things happened. It was insane. The craziest, hand of God type thing I've ever seen in my life. And I've been walking with the Lord for several years now. Even since then, I haven't experienced something that strong. I'm like, okay, so I call my pastor and his wife, and I'm like, just so you know, we're getting married on Friday.
They're on vacation.
Yeah, they're on a vacation. I'm like, so you guys get back Friday morning, come to my apartment that night because we're getting married. And they're like, doing what? I was like, yeah, just
there
another.
There were so many people that were mad at us.
Oh yeah, it was so bad. It was the best week of my life, but the worst, because so many people accused us of being pregnant. People accused me of physically forcing her into a relationship that she wasn't comfortable with, and that's why we were getting married. People said that she wanted to marry me so that she didn't have to work. even though I was broke as could be. I think when we got married, I had, we had $25 to our name.
I got a white dress on clearance at Forever 21.
For $9.
Yeah.
It was a summer dress.
Yeah.
And she wore it for a December wedding. It was
And
great.
I wore a prom dress that I never got to wear for my senior prom.
To the
Went
courthouse.
To the courthouse.
Yep. Yep. It was, I mean, we've forgiven all the people that were upset with us, but to this day, we still can feel resentment from people over it. Like, it was terrible. But here's the thing, guys. When God tells you to step and God tells you to move, you have to get up and move. Like, what if Moses had said, you know, God, I don't want to walk through the Red Sea because it might come crashing back down. He didn't really have an option. He had millions of people following him, being like, we need to escape the Egyptians. So what did Moses do? He stood there, he struck the sea with his rod, and the sea split, and the people walked through the sea. I mean, sometimes you just have to take that step of faith. Like, if you don't, God can't work in your life. So
That's great.
December 4th, we got the final appointment of the day at the courthouse. He had to actually come back. He had already gone home. Remember, he came back to let us in, married us in like 5 minutes. We had a very interesting first kiss because we were getting married in mask. So you were allowed to pull your mask down, kiss for a second, and put your mask back up. It was hilarious. And then we went back and had like a little after party and like a little private
Then we went
like.
to McDonald's.
Oh yeah, we went to McDonald's to get chicken nuggets because we were so hungry. So my friends, we're in the back seat. My friends drive us back because we're going back to the apartment to have a little party for the couple friends who supported us. And we run into McDonald's and everyone's like, "Oh my gosh, you guys look so nice." We're like, "Haha, we just got married." They're like, "What?" So I ended up, we had that little party. That was December 4th, 2020, last day of my life.
And then December 5th, 2021, we had our big wedding.
Yeah, and then we did want to still do the big wedding because I'm an eccentric, crazy person. So I was like, Jordan, I still want a big wedding. So the Lord blessed us with a large sum of money, and we were able to have a very formal dinner, sit-down wedding on our 1 year anniversary. We tried to do it exactly on our 1 year, but we ended up having to get married on a Sunday, or do our ceremony on a Sunday. But we had a very big ceremony with, how many people were in our wedding party? 21?
Yeah.
21 people in our wedding party. It was crazy because we got a lot of friends. And people ended up coming up alongside of us in the long run. 8 months into marriage, we got pregnant. And that was the craziest thing too.
We announced it at the wedding.
We announced it at the wedding. Guys, when y'all go out and get yourselves a wife and she comes to you at 5 a.m. with this little stick that says clear blue pregnant, you're going to be like, I didn't have my morning coffee. You know, like, it was pretty entertaining. But yeah, so anyways, that is our love story. I have no regrets. I think it was the best decision we ever made. Honestly.
For all those people that said that we wouldn't last.
You're not. Yeah, people told us that we would make it through a couple weeks and we'd end up getting divorced because we realized how stupid we were. God works in mysterious ways, you know. And he'll do anything he needs to bring restoration back into your life.
Yeah.
And honestly, I think, as funny as it sounds and as cheesy as it sounds, I think we were that restoration for each other.
Yeah.
Jordan really brought a lot of stability into my life, and I think I brought like a sense of security to hers, if that makes sense.
And a sense of craziness.
Oh yeah. One of Jordan's good friends from high school, she's like, "Wait, you and Jordan have a YouTube channel?" She goes, "Jordan didn't even speak in high school." She's like, "How did that happen?" I was like, "I don't know." You're welcome. And I mean, here's the thing. People have also asked us, okay, you have little Emberlyn now. Are you guys going to let her elope when she's 18 years old? We got married 3 months after Jordan turned 18.
If God tells her to.
I said, I mean, I'd rather not. You know, like, I want her to wait till she's 50, but I need my little girl forever. But, no, I mean, honestly, though, that's the thing. I don't like the aspect of the Christian walk where people think there's a line with how far you can follow God. Again, Moses. I mean, how do you even explain the concept that, okay, 2 million Hebrews, we're going to walk through the ocean? Like, what? I mean, you just can't explain that. And then it happened. Why so many Christians think that you have to cut the line off at a certain point, and that is how far you can follow God? But if it sounds too crazy, don't do it. And I'm not gonna say that our marriage has been perfect in any way. Like, we've dealt with, we are dealing with severe financial struggles because of, you know, the fact that I'm married. I can't go out and work as much as I did when I was single. Like, I have to take family time. We're both full-time students now. That takes a toll on your marriage. We've dealt with some severe marital issues, honestly. Our first year of marriage was probably not that great. The best part about being married is that then your marriage partner is going to say, okay, here's what I'm seeing in you, and this needs to go, or let's pray together so that this can stop. And you know, some of the things that we recovered from in our first year of marriage, if God can recover those, I cannot wait to see everything He's going to do in our marriage over the next, 70 years of being married. I mean, we were just talking the other day. We're like, can you believe that someday we're going to be grandparents? Like, we're going to be old, retired. I mean, like, we're going to Mima and Grandpa's house today, and it's just like, that's going to be us someday. It's so crazy, and that's because God is a God of restoration. God's a God of healing. He's a God of power, and He can hold anything together. That as the Bible says, what God has put together, let not man put asunder. We are the man that tries to put asunder once in a while. Our sins are trying to drive a wedge between you and I, and then between us and the Lord. And it's a day-to-day struggle. But learning to surrender your marriage before God is the most important. I mean, there's times where, as funny as it sounds, she'll be like, well, I don't have time to hang out with you. Like, I'm dealing with the baby, or I'm doing homework. Or I'll be like, you know what, I'm going to the gym, and I have things to do, and I want my time to just sit down and watch Netflix. Don't talk to me. We will literally go. We'll come back in the room. We'll sit in the other person's lap and go, attention, attention, because like that's what we're called to do first. We're called to love each other first before even our child. So sorry, I got kind of on a tangent there, but I guess those are the biggest things that we found from our first year of marriage. Like, putting each other before anything except for God. And guys, you're gonna have a more successful marriage. Honestly.
Well, we're at our friend's house.
Yeah, that was the perfect time to end the video. So anyways, guys, comment below if you guys have any ideas for future YouTube videos. We do need some content to film.
We already have an idea for next week's video.
Yes, next week is hopefully going to be it is National Diabetes Awareness Month, so I think I'm going to do a diagnosis story and talk about, my life with diabetes, and then current treatment and where I'm at now. Anyways, guys, enjoy your Saturday. I hope you guys all have a great day, and we love you all, and see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.